Ernie, the Indian of Mechala Shabbos only applies to Chum, which is Drabonin, right? So they would never, even in the Zman HaMikdash, when the seder used to be with fire, they never did that. They never were Mechala Shabbos on from a fire, were they? To get for the Eidim, to get to the Bezdin?
I can't hear. What?
Can't hear me now?
I can now, but I was not with my hearing thing.
Oh, okay. No, I'm talking to Ernie. He's on. I saw he's on the. Are you on the? Are you on open, Ernie? I guess. Is Ernie there?
Not yet.
Oh, I thought I saw his picture there. I thought I saw him in line. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Anyhow, Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov, yeah. Okay. Yes,
So how was your Shabbos?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. So, always nice. Always beautiful. Weather was nice. Perfect, huh?
Yeah.
It's
going to be cooler tomorrow.
It'll get to be cooler tomorrow, yeah? Okay.
It'll be in the 60s tomorrow.
Oh, that it is, yeah?
Harold.
Okay. What's the next Masech? Is it Tainus, is it? Does that follows Rosh Hashanah, huh?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. No. Yeah, timing, yes.
Oh, okay.
Mario?
Yeah?
I don't know how to sign in. It won't let, I want to sign in by me and not like by you.
But I said I was going to be here.
I'm saying it's not letting, it's signing me in. I can't log out of you. I want to go in like me.
But then I have to go out.
Okay.
You understand?
Not really.
We cannot be both hosts.
So am I the host or you're the host?
At this moment, I am.
Okay, so let me change my name.
Why?
Because it's listing me as
yes.
Fine.
Ernie, in the halach, as far as the Eidim for the Kiddush HaChodesh, so in the Zman HaMikdash, they were allowed to be Mechala Shabbos, only Drabanan, which is the Tchum, right? It was never. What about when they used to signal by fire? That was never allowed. The Kiddush HaChodesh to the Bezdin, was that ever allowed?
We're going to see that in the next parak.
Uh-huh.
The next parak will talk about how they led the fires and when they were allowed to do that.
Okay. It seemed to imply that only something which is Drabanan, they can be Mechala Shabbos, which is Chum. But not, is that probably what it comes out to be? They were never allowed to light the fire, probably. Because that's a derisa.
The Eidim are not involved in lighting the fire. They're just involved in coming to Bezdin to testify.
So who is the difference between the messengers and the Eidim? They're different?
Messengers that they sent out, that Bezdin sent out, are different. Correct. Shluchei Bezdin, when they went out to inform the communities, are not Eidim. The Eidim are the people who saw the Moilad, and they have to come to Bezdin. Bezdin investigates them, determines if they're correct. If they're correct, they say Makudish, Makudish. The month is Makudish. Then they send Shluchim out.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
I'm not so sure you're correct about that they were only allowed to Machalal the Rabbanans, because when the Gemara is going to go through proofs, and it's for Divrei Doraisa, for example, in order to establish when Yontif is, when Yom Kippur is, those are all Doraisa Dikedinim. So I don't think it's that poshut that they were only allowed to be Machalal Rabbanans. Could be. What I saw in the Rishonim is that they were allowed to be Machalal Shabbos. For example, to travel, it wasn't just, but let's hold off on that. I mean,
okay. Mm-hmm.
We're on Chaf Aleph, right? We're on Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph.
Yeah. When are we learning tomorrow? Sorry.
Tomorrow we're going to learn at 7:30 p.m. Daf Yomi and 8 o'clock Navi.
Very good.
Mario, 8 o'clock, we're starting chapter 18. Yud Ches.
Okay.
Okay. Levi Iklal Bavel b'Chatzar b'Tishrei. Levi arrived in Bavel on the 11th day of Tishrei in Bavel. They had Yom Kippur the day before. However, Omer Bosim Tavshila de Bavloi b'Yom Rabba Demaro. He says, wow, how good the dishes smell here of the Babylonians on Yom Kippur in Eretz Yisrael, because in Yom Kippur in Eretz Yisrael, for some reason they pushed off Rosh Chodesh Tishrei one more day. So instead of being the 11th, it's the 10th in Eretz Yisrael. So Levi was informing the people in Bavel that, you're eating on Yom Kippur. Omri le asid. Okay, give us testimony that today is Yom Kippur, and we'll refrain from eating. Omri lo shamat mi pi bezdin mekudesh. He said, I was not present in Sanhedrin because I was not there to hear Bezdin say mekudesh, mekudesh. Rashi says, Al kulan shluchim yoitzim mi ba'erev. The shluchim are sent out at night. Kigon imlo kidshu b'yom shloshim. For example, months are either 29-day months or 30-day months. So Eidim would usually show up on the 30th day to say they saw the new moon last night. That yesterday was the 29th day, and therefore today is Rosh Chodesh. Now, if Eidim don't show up on that 30th day, so Rosh Chodesh is automatically tomorrow. And the previous month had a 30-day month instead of 29-day month. So if on the night after the 30th day, right, the night, they would already send the shluchim out because they know that Rosh Chodesh is tomorrow. That this previous month was a mu'uberdika month, meaning a 30-day month, not a 29-day month. Aval Nisan v'Tishrei, I'm still in Rashi. Aval Nisan v'Tishrei, afal pi sheyoidin, sheyikatshu l'mochar b'yom shloshim ve'echad. Even though we just explained that everybody knows that they're going to be Makadesh l'chodesh tomorrow, Rosh Chodesh is tomorrow. Sharein Rosh Hashanah nidche l'shloshim u'shnayim. You can't have a 31-day month. So everybody would know that tomorrow's Rosh Hashanah. Afilochi and yoitzin ad sheyishma'u mipi bezdin mekudesh. Bezdin doesn't operate at night. So the day of the 30th closes with Shkias Achama, right? The sun sets, and Bezdin had not received any Eidim. So the first order of business tomorrow, when it's daylight, because Bezdin is not in term at night, They can't be Makadosh L'Chodesh at night. So those shluchim that normally would have been sent the night before wait until they hear Bezdin in the morning say Mekudesh, Mekudesh. Says Levi, Vani lo shamati mipi Bezdin. I didn't hear from Bezdin. Shelo yiti b'makom sheyashvu Sanhedrin sham. I was not at the place where Sanhedrin was sitting. I heard after the fact. Oh, they this last month that today is Rosh Hashanah, and then he traveled to Bavel later, and now he's telling the information. But since he was not present when Bezdin said Mekudesh, Mekudesh, he's not a real aid to say that the people in Bavel should treat today as Yom Kippur. So, gentlemen, think about it. The shluchim who were sent out to the Golus to inform people about when Rosh Chodesh Tishrei was declared, or when Rosh Chodesh Nisan was declared, those shluchim could get to a further distance geographically in the month of Nisan as opposed to the month of Tishrei. Why is that?
That's the night. That's the night.
No. You have 2 days of Yontiv of Rosh Hashanah. They can't travel. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, you can travel. And you have Yom Kippur on the 10th of Tishrei. So you had 3 days lack of travel. Let's say at a minimum 2 days before the whole Rosh Hashanah was extended to another day. But there were 2 days that the shluchim in Nisan could get, for example, the shluchim in Nisan could reach Baghdad, but the shluchim in Tishrei could only reach Damascus because they had 2 days less of travel. So Rav Yochanan made a declaration. Everywhere where the people in Nisan, in the locales where the shluchim could reach in Nisan, even though they couldn't reach there in Tishrei, le'avdu trei yomi. They should also do, they got the information when Rosh Chodesh was, but there's going to be a low plug. Since the places where Tishrei, where the shluchim could get in Tishrei, at that, they would not have known when it is. So therefore, they have to do 2 days. So the Nisan people, even though they might have gotten the information earlier, Gzeira Nisan or to Tishrei. And that's why all of us keep 2 days, no matter where we are. You might have thought that the places where the Shluchei Tishrei could reach, well, the Shluchim reached there, so they know when Rosh Chodesh. Why do they have to keep 2 days? It's Gzeira Nisan or to Tishrei. Rav Ivu Bar Nagri, Rav Chia Bar Ava, Iklahu Asr, Davu Matu Shluchei Nisan, V'Matu Shluchei Tishrei. They got to a place that the shluchim could reach, but the shluchim couldn't reach in Tishrei. But they only kept 1 day because they got the information before Sukkot. Nobody said anything to them. Sham Rav Yochanan v'ikpid. Rav Yochanan was marked. Amrlu lav amri lachu. Didn't I tell you? Heichad the matu shluchin is lo matu shluchin Tishrei lavdu treyomi. Gzeirnish not to Tishrei. I want to read the Rambam. Seder Zmanim, Hilchos Kiddush HaChodesh. Halacha zui makor lebayat yisod halach lemaisa. Be'elu makomos noagim shtei yomim tovim. Where do you have to keep 2 days yontiv? Uvi karshul davar shtei shitos ein legabi hagdoras hamakoyim shebehem yesh linog shtei yomim tovim. The Dasa Rambam, Tolei adavar bizmanenu. This is based on our time, kasher yesh luach shana kavua, after the year 340 CE, when they established a permanent calendar. B'minak shayu noagim bizman shayu shluchim. They should be called makom shayu shluchim agim elav apoel in the territories where shluchim would reach before the 15th day of the month. Shamoy sim yom echad. They would only hold 1 day yontiv. In locations in China or in Europe where there's no way the shluchim could have reached, and therefore, according to the Rambam, ein adover toli b'merchak klal. She'yitachen sheb'makom korv yoser lo higiu elav shluchim. There might have been even a location, Kagon Mitzrayim, where because of various travel things, they couldn't get there in time. The Klaza Gama Komitz, Yishuv Chadoshim, newer cities, Shenivnu, B'makam Shlaya Bo Yishuv Yudi. For example, there were no Jewish communities at that time. V'ulayla Shitata Ridva Tole Adavarak Behavdel Bein Haaretz. That so there's a machlokes between the Ritva and the Rambam based on this issue. But basically, because of Minhag Avos B'Yadin, which we will get later on as well, an explanation, we keep 2 days no matter where the shluchim reach. But at that time, in area locations that were closer, they would only keep 1 day. Rav Avarogel Davi Yosef V'Tanesa Trei Yomi. Rava, who lived in Bavel, would keep 2 days Yom Kippur. Zimna Chadish Takach Kavose. One time, Rava was right that it turned out that the Bezdin had added another day to the previous month. And really, Tishrei was Yud Aleph and not Yud. And therefore, Rava acted correctly by fasting on both days. Rav Nachman Yosef Tanisa Kula Yom Kippuri. Rav Nachman fasted the whole day Yom Kippur, Yud Nisa. Le'urta asahu gavra. That night came a person, Omerle, Limchar Yom Rabba B'Marava. He said, tomorrow's also Yom Kippur. He had come from Eretz Yisrael, and he had the information that they had added another day. And therefore now everyone has to fast tomorrow. Armalei mehecha'ad. Where are you from? Armalei Mida Maharya. I'm from a place, Mida Maharya, which is also a play on words like Mehera. They came from a fast place. Armalei Dam Tehei Achriso. The blood is on your head. Because if you would have come 10 minutes later and we would all started eating, so that's it. We don't have Yom Kippur because you didn't. But since you came on time, you were as light, just like our enemies. Sometimes when they chase us, they're lighter than eagles. Because if the shaliach would have come a little later, everybody would have eaten and drink. Because he came earlier, they couldn't eat or drink yet. Because Yom Kippur had already started.
Kalim are vultures, by the way.
Kalima Yurod Feinu. Oh, yeah. No, Minishrei Shamayim. I was heard Kalim means they were lighter.
Swifter.
Our enemies were lighter than even eagles.
Yeah. He says swifter than vultures in the sky.
Oh, Nishrei. He learns Nishrei are vultures.
Right.
I know, but usually we entice Nesher to be an eagle.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. Shalach Ravuna bar Avin le Rava. Ravuna sent to Rava. Kad chazis demashcha tufas tevis atshitzer benisim. So, Kufas tevis is the winter period, which ends March 22nd every year. That means December 22nd or 21 is the day when it's the longest night and the shortest day. And then the night gets shorter until on March 21/22 is the equinox, the vernal equinox, that's for spring, because that's when spring starts, where the day and the night are exactly equal, 12 hours, 12 hours. So if they see that the 16th of Nisan is going to occur prior to March 21, that's the trigger where they have to add a leap month. Ibra lahi shaita. Because we have to be shamor es chodesh aviv. Pesach is called Chag Aviv. it's a yont, it's got to be in the spring. Spring starts March 21 because it goes according to the solar seasonal seasons. Because we're aware of that. And therefore, that's the trigger why we have to add an extra month, another Adar, to push Pesach to make sure that Pesach falls in the spring. Otherwise, 11 days, remember, the 354 lunar calendars, 11 days shorter than the 365. In 4 or 5 years, Pesach would be in February, because 10 days earlier every year. So therefore, you got to add a month. They add 7 months in a 19-year cycle. So that's how it is. There are 7 leap years every 19 years, and that keeps everything according to Hoyle. Right, that this vernal equinox has to occur prior to the 16th of Nisan. That's how the Rambam paskins beferish in Sefer Zmanim Hilchos Kiddush HaChodesh. Rav Nachman told the sailors who would go traveling by boat. They're out by boat, and they have to know when they have to stop eating chametz. Ason, you, the lo yaditin b'kvid yarcha. You don't know when you're out in the sea how to calculate when Rosh Chodesh is. He gave them a hint. Ki chazis is sierra de mashlim liyuma. If you see the moon, you can see the moon from Shkias Achama until Neitz Achama. That's the middle of the month. If you can see the moon the whole night from Shkia to Neitz, so it's at least the 15th day. Therefore, bi'eru chamira. Burn your chametz. Fine. That's the 15th, but Vanan Ma'abesim we burn our chametz on the 14th. So he answered, L'didu de miglula alma ma'abeser mashlim. For you, where you're on the ocean, where there's no pollution, and it's very clear, and the horizon is open, you're going to already see that siman on the 14th. And therefore, when you see that siman of seeing the moon from Shkia until Neitz, you can already burn your chametz. It's already the 14th. Mishnah. Ashnei Chadoshim Mechalanas Shabbos. 2 months, you're mechal, those Eidim that saw the Chodesh and they want to come to Yerushalayim, they're allowed to be mechal the Shabbos. Minat Torah says Toisvis, you can be mechal for all 12, but the Rabbanan Aserd, except for these 2 months. So, Shabbos on Nisan Val Tishrei.
How's it possible that Kiddush HaChodesh is more important than the Raisa Aseret Adibus Shabbos? I mean, it's just
no, because they established Yom Kippur, and which is a Chag Midaraisa, and Yont and Pesach, which is a Chag Minat Torah, based on that.
Yeah, but it's still, that seems strange that you can be mevatel of doraisa for another doraisa. In other words, where do we see that? That's the only place I see. Where do you see that? You see that in Pikuach Nefesh.
Mila, hang on. Mila is doicha Shabbos because mitzvah saseh is doicha lo taseh.
Mila is it's true, but Mila is doicha Shabbos. Yeah, but Mila, you're not machalel Shabbos.
We also. Yes,
you're not machalel Shabbos.
Of course you are. You're not allowed to do a surgery on Shabbos. You're not allowed to cut flesh on Shabbos. You're not allowed to shecht a korban on Shabbos. In the Beis HaMikdash, they were allowed to do it because mitzvah korban. So there's many examples where mitzvah saseh midoraisa violate Shabbos, which doicha Shabbos. The Ritva, listen, we can learn time of shalet al chilul Shabbos l'shem kvias rosh chadoshim einam avurar hetev kan. The fish of the Mishnah of the Gemara after Lasik Maskana Shar Ayusha Pirshu Kibiatz Machalim Shabbos al Kol Rosh Chodoshim. Really, initially they thought they could be Machal for all the months. Mishum Shemitzvah Lekadosh Al Pi Re'iyah. Just like it's a mitzvah Mila on the 8th day, you do it on Shabbos. There's a mitzvah of shechting and korban oila Shabbos b'Shabbotzoi. So you do it on Shabbos, a mitzvah. So Kiddush HaChodesh is a mitzvah in its own right.
I think it's also Kiddush HaChodesh is a mitzvah in its own right, and it's a mitzvah of the tzibur, and I think that's a bigger. It's a. In other words, it's a.
But mitzvah Mila is not a mitzvah tzibur.
I understand, but that's it's a lot. I said by. Here,
so you want to say a mitzvah saseh over right. It's the same thing. The hakravas korbanos, mitzvah Mila. So we see that.
Well, korbanos, okay.
Korbanos was the same thing. We learned that sugya, where the daily korbanos could override Shabbos as well. The Ritva and Rashi say it's only because l'zmanim shel tzoyrech. According to the Rambam, Shnei Tam L'Dover, it's mitzvah l'kadosh ha're'iyah, and also because of the hakravas musaf of Rosh Chodesh Bismano. In order to establish that, they needed the Eidim to come, so they knew that they could do the korban at the right day, which is also midoraisa, because we read Roshei Chad Shechem Takrivo Lo Al Hashem, right, in Parshas Pinchas, where the Kriyas HaTorah for Rosh Chodesh. Okay.
So why can't you? The other months also be Mechal Shabbos because of Kol Musaf?
Hang on, the Gemara, we're going to go through that.
Okay.
So Shebayan Shluchin Yotzim LeSuria. So Syria was, I guess, the farthest area that they reached. That's why I talked about Damascus. And based on their testimony, they established. And Rashi says, establishing when the Yotif doesn't work by Sivan and Tammuz and Av. Right? You don't care. Rashi says why. He also gives his small. And the Takonis Korban is Shal Rosh Chodesh Yakriz Mimano, that even the Rosh Chodesh has to be done in its right time. Beis Hamidrash Kayim Mechal Aval Kulon. The Takonis Korban. In fact, when the Beis Hamidrash was extant, because remember, Bezdin continued to be Mekadosh to Chodesh even after the Churban, until the Sanhedrin was wiped away, like sometime after Rebbe or something. There's a certain period. Remember, the Sanhedrin was moved to Yavne, then it was moved to Usha, and that's why Levi lived after the Beis Hamidrash was destroyed, but they were still being Mesakein Mechadesh the Chodesh based on Re'iyah. But once the Beis Hamidrash was Kayim, once the Beis Hamidrash was destroyed, it was only for those 2 months, and then eventually it all went away. What do you mean? On only 2 months? That's interesting. The Mishnah started off by talking about Eidim. But then in the middle of the Mishnah, it switched to Shluchim. Shluchim are the Beis Din sent Shluchim out to the Golus. So the Gemara asks, we have evidence that for the Shluchim were sent out even for 6 months. And we went through the previous 6 months. On all the other months, the Shluchim went already at night, because we knew that tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. Like we read through that Rashi. They had to hear Bezdin say Beferish. Let's read this Rashi. Let's say in the middle of the day, on the 29th, they saw the new moon. Oh, the night of the night going into the 30th. So the Vada Yikachu Bezdin Machar. Well, we know that Bezdin Eidim are going to show up. I mean, everybody saw it. So certainly Eidim are going to go to Bezdin, and they're going to be Makadesh. Tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. Or Inami, or Rashi explains they could be talking about also B'Chodesh Mu'uber, where the whole 30th day nobody came. And now we know the Pshitalan should be on Shloshim ve'echad Yiskadish. Now we know tomorrow's going to be Rosh Chodesh on the 31st day. Bishlon Yiskadish b'manu, since it was not Miskadish on the 30th. Shluchim yotzim bezdin. Bezdin would already send out already at the end of the day 30th. They mamtinin ad lemachar. They wouldn't wait until tomorrow morning. Shishma makudish mepi bezdin. Kiramina lekaman roich bezdin omer makudish v'yeidu legoyla. So sometimes they would already been sent the day before. Kula shachim yotzim b'ayeret. On Nisan v'al Tishrei Hashim to be pesadin mekudish. But on Nisan v'Tishrei, shluchim would not be sent the previous day. They would have to wait until the next day on the 31st, when Bezdin is going to say mekudish, mekudish, and that the previous day and that day is now Rosh Chodesh because they didn't come out on the 30th day. So today is Rosh Chodesh. Yilkach b'shar chadoshim ein chilul Shabbos shel edim memaheres yitzias hashluchim. The problem of chilul Shabbos was not a problem of the other months regarding sending out the shluchim. She'en hashluchim mechalin Shabbos, let's say sayom. The shluchim would not be mechal Shabbos as the sun goes down. Shlo yavo edim hayom. If edim don't show up today, yisaber hachodesh. We know the new one is going to be tomorrow. Everybody knows it's going to be done tomorrow. So nobody would go be mechal Shabbos. No edim, no shluchim would leave. As it got night, they would send out loymar she'ibru elul to say that, you know what, Elul was not a 29-day month this year; it's a 30-day month. If Edim don't show up on the 30th day, and therefore today is also going to be part of Elul, and tomorrow's Rosh Hashanah, lo yotzo shlichim ad machar. Shlichim wouldn't go out until tomorrow. She'ein bezdin mekatchen b'layla. Nimtzu mima'atitin es hiluchan ma'alech layla v'yoser. You see, they at least stopped the movement of the Edim by at least 12 hours. Ketzad. Im yavo Edim v'yeidu v'yiskatchu b'Shabbos. The Edim come, and the Kiddush was on Shabbos. V'yei Pesach b'Shabbos. Yesh zman l'shluchim mahalech shneim yom shleim. They'd have 12 days. So l'motzei Shabbos yotzu. In that situation, if Shabbos was the Rosh Chodesh, they left Motzei Shabbos. V'yelchu kol yomei achol. They would be able to travel that whole week. Al shnei shavus alolu shleimim. V'lo ba'edim hayom. But if the Edim didn't come that day, lo yotzo shleim ad machar. Va'al korchachan Shabbos shel erev Pesach yishbosu. Nimtzu shlochu shneim asar yomim shleim. They wouldn't be able to travel full 12 days. V'im Tomer, says Rashi, heichu tela tamach chilula Edim b'tzis hashluchim. Hare hashluchim atzman lo niten layam lechalel until the Edim come. Tamach chilul k'dei shiskadish hachodesh b'zmanuhu. Kidiktani v'en maskines hamayados. Rachmana amar vasher tikros hamawadam. You have to wait till Bezdin says mekudesh. Afilu b'Shabbos. V'tzis hashluchim diktani eino el liyafus liyashiv v'stamach chilul af b'shvul zos. Yesh dvorim she'enatam toile b'hem. V'en nasim sad l'davar liyashiv liyafus. So they're Edim to show how beautiful the system was. Because the Shani b'Sanhedrin, ein marvin sashon ne'agdim v'atloim, aval oisin oisam sad l'shona. Keitzad? Mehoidon anchzal l'kovin the gozen rachichim v'amrina the arkin. Well, this is more they're going to have later on. Okay. Tanya amachal kulan yotzim v'ayerev al nisan v'al tishrei. So all the other months where we know that the Rosh Chodesh is going to be tomorrow, they already went out the night before. On Nisan v'al Tishrei, they only went when Bezdin was Mekudesh. Therefore, they had less days to travel. Therefore, there was more reason for them in Machal Shabbos to get to where they had to go for people to know when Rosh Chodesh was. Where's the source that we can be Machal Shabbos? Talmud Lemer, Eilem Odeh Hashem, Asher Tikros HaMoadam, just like I know you could be Machalel, the Edim to get there, to bring the Eidus HaRe'iyah, maybe Kach Machalel Ad Sheiskaimu. So therefore, I would think that the Shluchim going out to let everybody know when Kviyas HaChodesh is, Talmud Lema Asher Tikru Osam, Al kriyas amata mechalal v'yata mechalal kiyumam. To call out when Rosh Chodesh is, that is for the Eidim to come, yes. But for the Shluchim, it's to tell them when it was, no. So the Rambam says, Hashluch ma'yotz b'vezin lo diyash v'izkadosh HaChodesh, ein mechalalin, lo yontav, lo yom kippurim, v'kol shekein shein mechalalin s'Shabbos kedei lo diyah. The permission to be mechalal is only for the Eidei Re'iyah to come to Bezdin. But for the Shluchim to come out, to tell people when it was, they're not mechalal. U'shay Bezdin kaya mechalal nafal kulan. When Bezdin was around, they were mechalal for all Rosh Chodashim. Because we had to know what type of korban to bring on Rosh Chodesh. Neta konas korban. Ton Rabbanon, Rishon yimchal nafal kulam mishachar v'zaminish shamal Rabbi Yochanan Zakai. V'yesh korban, hiskin shlo yimchal el al nisan b'al tishrei b'vad. Mishnah. Bein shenire ba'alil. Alil means everyone was able to see the new moon coming. It was open to everybody's eyes. That's called alil. Bein shelo nir, but let's say it was nobody saw it. Maybe just Yechidim saw it. Still, Mechal and Lavas HaShabbos. We don't say, oh, this moon, everybody saw the new moon. Oh, that way you can't be Mechal Shabbos for the Eidim. No. We still allow the Eidim to be Mechal Shabbos. Yossi Omer, he disagrees. Im Nira Ba'alil, if the moon was seen by everybody, Ein Mechal Lavas HaShabbos. Ma'aser She'avru Yoser Marboim Zug, there were 40 pairs of Eidim that gathered to go to see it, to Bezdin, to say that they saw the new moon. Ikvam Rabbi Kiva Balud, and they were going to be Mechal Shabbos. But Rabbi Kiva stopped them. We don't need to be Mechal Shabbos so much, because if you saw, must be other people saw. You can't. People are going to think in the future, oh, you know what? They have other Eidim, so I'm not going to go. So therefore, you did incorrect. Now, we explained the word alil to mean that it was seen by everybody, it was seen clearly. My mashma d'hai alil lishna de miglihu. Where do we get that the word alil means it's open? Amra vabo amar kra, imros Hashem amarois tohiris kesef tzorv ba'alil, money that is seen clearly, lo aretz mezukak shivasayim. So how do you teach this post? Rav Ushma, Chad Amar, Chamishim Shari Bina Nivru Boilam. There were 50 gates of Bina, knowledge. The Kulan Nitnu Moshe Chaser Achas. All 49 were given to Moshe minus 50 minus 1. Shenemar Vatach Sareu Ma'at Melokim. BK Kohelis Limtso Divrei Cheketz. Shlomo Melech wrote, Kohelis wanted to find something. BK's Kohelis Lios Kemoshe. Shlomo Melech wanted to be like Moshe. Yatsa Baskal Varmaloi v'chasav Yosher Divrei Emes v'loi kam Navi Oid B'Yisrael K'Moshe. The Torah is a Divrei Emes, and it says there was no Navi like Moshe. So, but the other Mandomer says Chadam B'Neviim lo kam, but Malachim kam. That means there was no Navi like Moshe, but a Melech could be like Moshe. So Elamani Mekai Bikesh Kozim B'Tzod Divrei Chayfetz. Bikesh Kohelis Ladun Dinin Shabalev. Shlomo Melech wanted to adjudicate dinim based on his own heart, shelo be'edim v'shelo basra, without going through normative Jewish jurisprudence. You need edim, you need warning. Shlomo Melech, with his chokhmah, I guess knew what the halacha is, no matter what. Yatsa Baskal V'Ramalo, no. The chosuv Yosher Divrei Emes al pishnai meidim yumas ames. You can't do Misa or Malchus except with Shnei Eidim. Okay. Very good, everybody.
Okay. Shkoyach.